It's day 321. The meta has grown stale. It's been 291 days since my last win. Every game, the same. It's that deck. That horrible deck. There's nothing I can do. The skies the skies are still blue and the grass, the grass is still green, but that's all there is. Blue and green everywhere. And she is the one who brought about this suffering. Hello everyone, I'm Ruben from Manascrew, and let's talk about Prime Speaker VANNIFAR. Let's just assume I'm pronouncing that right. Prime Speaker VANNIFAR is a 2/4 for 2 generic mana, 1 green and 1 blue, so 4 CMC. She's a legendary elf ooze wizard and, oh baby, even those subtypes get me excited. Her ability reads, tap and sacrifice another creature. Search your library for a creature card with a converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Activate this ability only any time you can cast a sorcery. So, anyone else notice anything about this commander? Any similar cards come to mind? No? Not getting any blurry visions of cards that are banned in Modern and still great to this day in Commander? So, yeah, I'm dancing around the point. But the point is that they printed Birthing Pod on a stick for our format. Except potentially better. Sure, you can't tap it as soon as it comes in, but you don't have to pay any mana. Sure, it may be more open to removal being a creature, but it's not like you're in colors that don't have counter spells. And in Simic, creatures are arguably just as easy to untap as artifacts, if not more so. Here's the thing, people build Birthing Pod decks in Commander, but now Wizards have granted us a Commander that can guarantee to get one out every single game. Yi-San and Zer are already mainstays, some of the best Commanders in the format. And really, that's the best and worst part about VANNIFAR. The guarantee of doom she brings to your opponents. They will want to kill you, counter her, and everything in between. You will have to choose your moment well. VANNIFAR's color pairing allows us a lot of options for various things. Sure, it may not include white or black to get a bit more abuse out of the sacrificing, but Simic is pretty much the best color combination for untappers anyway. Just ask Cratch. The first thing that came to mind when seeing her was how we can find ways to reuse this effect, which is shockingly easy with untappers. Aphetto alchemist, Kiora, and her follower, 1000 Year Elixir. Hell, if you want to pay mana for it, Freed from the Real is an option. May as well pack in as much untapped redundancy as possible. There are more, of course, but this is the bulk of the single target untappers we should be including in our VANNIFAR deck. These are great because they'll allow us to speed up the pace on our commander's ability, which lets us move on to something a lot more cool. We want to get the best use out of both the creatures we bring in and the creatures we sacrifice. Aid from the Cowl will allow us to get an additional card for free whenever we use VANNIFAR's ability. We're only running 15 non-permanents, so we have pretty good odds on hitting something. This card is one of the very light ways of utilizing VANNIFAR, but is one of my personal EDH favorite cards, so I thought I'd include it in this Deckbite. We're also going to be including some redundancy for our commander's effect. My list runs Birthing Pod and an Eldritch Evolution. These are more for worst case scenarios than anything else. They can give us multiple ways of podding when we have no untappers. People are going to want to target your VANNIFAR out of the game, and if they can't, they're going to want to kill you. You may even be in a situation where you're out of creatures in hand and on board and you have to use Birthing Pod just on VANNIFAR. Next up, we'll talk about some graveyard recursion options. First, there's the staple of Eternal Witness, which will allow us to sacrifice a good creature, get one into play, and then regrowth the first one back into our hand. Genesis provides us with a similar effect, but begs us to sacrifice it to get one of our 6 drops. Genesis won't be a card that you'll use Vannifar's ability to get, but it's a card that you'll draw naturally and hopefully will accrue some value throughout the game. But in decks that are trying to be a bit less spiky, it'll definitely be a great way of accruing some value without drawing too much hate. Let's say someone disallowed your Vannifar ability on your 4-drop and you have no other cards in hand or on board, or you got wiped before you could chain enough things together. Well, these cards will allow you to get another chance at stringing together some chains of creatures. Huatoa, Hue. Hue is another way of getting back some creatures from grave that synergizes well with our other untappers. Concordant Crossroads is another one that I think is pretty much a must, because if you can bring it out early, you can bring in whatever you want with Vannifar and then swing on the same turn. It also allows you to activate Vannifar's ability straight as soon as she enters the battlefield. Persist in general is great because you can get 2 uses out of Vannifar's ability, and there are ways of utilizing this more, but again, that's for those more spiky decks. One of my personal favourites, because it's not super flashy, just a small amount of value, is Thragtusk. Gain some life on the way in, get a token when you sack it on the way out. So these are some great ways of generating value. But how about we talk about the slightly more meaty possibilities, the type more likely to outright win you the game. We're going to start out by not even addressing the combos that require Vannifar. We'll go into those at the end, but you can pull many of the known Birthing Pod combos if they're in the colours. Now, those combos, and these ones too, tend to be a little bit degenerate, but we're not here to judge how something feels at the table. We're here to talk a little bit about what the possibilities are with the newly released cards. First off, there's the Untappers and Illusionist combo. This works by using Illusionist Bracers and any of our other Untappers. We'll use Kiora's Follower as an example for now. First, you equip Illusionist Bracers to your Untapper, in this case Kiora's Follower. Now, whenever you untap a permanent, Kiora's Follower's ability activates twice. You use one of the activations on any target and one on Kiora's Follower itself. If that target is a land, you can do this for infinite mana. If it is Arcanus, infinite card draw. And if it's Vannifar, hypothetically infinite tutors. Next is the Deadeye Drakes combo, is what we'll call it. This combo is one that's particularly important to mention because it's one that can be sequenced by Vannifar. You only need a 4-drop to start it off with, and something to untap Vannifar if you want to sequence it with her. Tap 5 of your lands and float the mana. Tap Vannifar, targeting whatever your 4-drop was. Fetch Peregrine Drake. Untap Vannifar using whatever your untapper is, and then tap her again to fetch Deadeye Navigator. Now, you can do this if you have Peregrine Drake and Deadeye Navigator in your hand, just using Vannifar for the example. If you've got this far, you're probably going to win the game. Soul Bond Deadeye with the Drake, and then pay 1 generic blue into the Drake. Tap 5 lands and float the mana. Each time the Drake enters, you'll untap 5 lands, and you only need 2 mana to flicker it, which means you'll always be gaining 3 out of the exchange, and you can repeat this ad nauseum. A bonus is that it's really difficult to remove either of these creatures because you can activate their abilities at instant speed and fizzle their removal. Once you're satisfied with their uses, you can use the mana on something, whether that be a Blue Sun Zenith on an opponent or something over your own devices. I'll leave that up to you. Now, there are also some single card combos that work with Vannifar, just Vannifar and a single card. These become a lot more degenerate in Commander because all you have to do is draw 1 card out of the 100, play it with your commander, and instantly probably going to win the game. The first is Thornbite Staff, and this one is very simple. Thornbite Staff has one borderline irrelevant ability and one that reads, whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from play, untap this creature. This means whenever Vannifar's ability sacrifices a creature to fetch a creature, she immediately untaps. The next is Intruder Alarm, which gives us a very similar effect, reading whenever a creature comes into play, untap all of your creatures. This allows us to keep using Vannifar's ability again and again whenever we get a creature on the battlefield. Just advanced warning, these 2 cards are the most degenerate combos you can include, so beware your play group, as if they have anyone who attends the gym, they may pin you down while the others burn these cards. Okay, so finally, let's talk about how to win. Now, I'm not going to talk about too many of these, as you can find a lot of them just by looking for birthing pod combos and seeing the ones that don't use any colours except blue and green. I'm sure there will be more combos like these if you're watching this in a year's time, and the sequences I'm about to talk about and the cards I've been talking about will be the first thing that comes to anyone's mind as soon as you flip over VANNIFAR. But since she is just released, let's just talk about my favourite chain. There's the Deadeye one as mentioned earlier, but another good one is to use VANNIFAR's ability to sacrifice Wood Elves. Grab yourself a Solemn Simulacrum, sack the Solemn and get yourself a 5 and a 6 drop of your choice, doesn't particularly matter, could be the Deadeye Drake combo. Then grab an Avenger of Zendikar. If you can make it to your next turn, the tokens will lose their summoning sickness and you can grab yourself a Craterhoof Behemoth. I like this combo because it gives people a chance to sort of respond, remove the Avenger, remove the tokens, board wipe in between, and you can't get it out too early because it's less effective due to the Avenger lands, so it seems more fair to me than just going crazy infinite and winning the game. So thank you guys for watching, I hope you all had a great Christmas, and wow, it looks like Ravnica Allegiance is going hard on trying to make some very hated commanders. As more and more cards are released, I get more and more excited for the set, and I hope we see some legendary creatures that maybe offer some counterplay or perhaps something we've never seen before on cards. And a final thank you to all of you watching. I've been Ruben from Manascrew. If you are looking for a full deck list, a link to the tapped out page is in the description. I did it. I uploaded within a month of a previous upload. Let's see if we can get this ball rolling. If you guys express enough interest and I get enough requests for more of these creature chain combos with VANNIFAR, I generally make these videos in under 5 hours, so I'd be able to put more effort and time into that. I just want to get these out as soon as possible, start talking, generate some discussions about the new commanders coming out while it's still fresh. But if there is some interest more so about some more VANNIFAR combos, about some birthing pod combos, I may make a small add-on video just about them. Also, comment below if you think of any more combos that would work with VANNIFAR, and throw me a like or a subscribe if you think I deserve it. Thank you for watching.